Welcome to the Redeemer's First Friday series of concerts. We are thrilled to be at the Temple RodefShalom today with Don Mcgahn, the music director, and the cantorial soloist, Molly May. At the end of their presentation, there will be a presentation of showing the inside of the temple, and I know you're all looking forward to seeing that, as many of you may not have ever been in this temple. Don Mcgahn is music director and organist for RodefShalom congregation, where he has served since 1993. He is also organist choir master at Ingomar United Methodist Church in the North Hills, where he has served since 1998. Don is a member of the American Guild of Organists and the Guild of Temple Musicians. Molly May is cantorial soloist for RodefShalom congregation and director of Rodef Shirah, the congregational choir. She is a distance learning student at the Academy for Jewish Religion in the cantorial program. Molly is also conductor of the Pittsburgh chapter of Hazamir, the International Jewish Teen Choir, and serves on the board of the Guild of Temple Musicians as Vice President of Education. Additionally, as an accomplished instrumentalist, she is principal bass with the Edgewood Symphony. Welcome to our program.
Cantorial soloist of RodefShalom, and I am accompanied by our music director, Don Mcgahn. I started us off with a gathering song in the contemporary style from Psalm 133, written by a contemporary Jewish musician, Dan Nichols. It is called Hine Ma Tov, and the text means, how good and how pleasant for brothers to sit and dwell together.
We will be sharing music with you this afternoon, both live and from pre-recorded videos. That is a combination of melodies used here for our Shabbat and High Holy Day services. Some older music was exclusively in English, nigunim, which a nigun is a wordless melody, but all that has been an important part of the musical voice in the history here of RodefShalom congregation. So that we spend most of our time in song, we offer some of our history to understand the evolution of our music here.
RodefShalom congregation has long been an iconic presence in Pittsburgh, not only for its current facility, which is a National Register of Historic Places landmark. It is the oldest Reform congregation in the area and has been known for exemplary music in worship services. Originally founded as a German Orthodox congregation, the vote to become a Reform congregation came in 1863. The transition to services in English was not immediate, yet it is noted in our history that music here was always prominent. Our sanctuary, from where Don and I are bringing this program, was designed by Henry Hornbostel, opened for the High Holy Days services in 1907, which included the installation of a 4-manual 55-rank Kimball organ. As was mentioned, our services over the years have been predominantly in English, save for a handful of prayers or portions of prayers that were sung in Hebrew. So central portions of the liturgy, such as the Shema, which is we consider this the watchword of our faith, or maybe it's our tagline, like Nike has just do it. We have Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
When I was hired as organist here in 1993 by our beloved music director and cantorial soloist Mimi Lerner, Zichrona Livracha, may her memory be a blessing, Friday evening services were exactly a half an hour, and Saturday morning, 1 hour, quite brief compared to an hour and about an hour and a half, respectively, now. Our prayer book, Gates of Prayer, went through a revision adopted in the late 90s that favored gender-neutral language, considerably more Hebrew than what we had been using, and a great deal of transliteration of the Hebrew to encourage more participation in the services. When I started, as Molly mentioned, we had just a couple of handful of things that were done in Hebrew, but all of the rest of the liturgy and prayer was done in English. We referred to this transition book as Gates of Sensitivity or Gates of Gray. It was a small gray volume, and thus its color. This led to our current prayer book, or Siddur, which comes from the same root as Seder, meaning order, Mishkan Tefillah. Mishkan Tefillah is Hebrew for dwelling place for prayer, which is taken from Isaiah 56, verse 7, "For my house will be called a house of prayer for all people." From my beginnings in 1993 and beyond Mimi's death in 2007, the majority of the music in services was sung for and not with the congregation. We had a professional quartet that sang with Mimi and with me over the years, and they basically performed, if you will, although perform is not a word I believe in the context of worship. They performed the service for those in attendance. RodefShalom has been historically steeped in the tradition of classic reform, resisting that pull towards where the mainline reform movement in the country had already gone, and that of services where prayers were spoken or sung exclusively in Hebrew, with the congregation fully participating and not just as spectators in the service. RodefShalom's movement to where much of the rest of the country has long been was really the work and much thanks to Rabbi Sharon Henry, with whom Molly and I work most closely in planning our services.
When asked what is Jewish synagogue music, it would be an oversimplification to say that historically there really isn't anything specifically Jewish. Jewish modality from which Western music's Gregorian modes have their origins play a significant part in the sound of the music, and a lot of the rest is the musical influence of the culture and the towns where Jews lived and composed throughout history, along with the respective folk idiom. There are greater specificities with the Jewish prayer modes of the Ashkenazi tradition, which is the European tradition, as well as the Arabic maqamat style of the various Sephardi and Mizrahi communities. So there are a couple of different scales and modes and sounds that are distinctive to different Jewish practices. Classic Reform music drew a great deal of influence from the contemporary language of Viennese and European music of the late 19th century. Much like our Christian counterparts, the youth camp music has had a great impact on music that has migrated into worship. Most notably, the music that informs our service experiences is being written now by our colleagues in this country, in Canada, in Israel. And while some of the classical influences remain, the sounds of the Reformed Jewish service draw both from the new music being written and music of more traditional practice, so the music that you would hear in a more traditional Jewish service. When something is old, and we have known it forever, we say that it comes Sinai, from Mount Sinai, as if it's been handed down that long ago.
So we begin with a couple of pieces. This section in my own organizational writings of how we put this program together. I'm just calling this simply the English years of yore. Where I began in 1993, most of the things were in English. This is Shabbat HaMalka, Sabbath Queen. It comes from the Friday evening service, as well as Early Will I Seek You, also from Friday night. The sun on the treetops is no longer seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. Early will I seek you, God, my refuge strong. Late prepare to meet you with my evening song. Though unto your greatness I with trembling soar, yet my inmost thinking lies your eyes before. What with this frail heart's dreaming and my tongue's poor speech, can they even distant you your greatness reach? Being great in mercy, you will not despise praises which till death's hour from my soul will rise. Finally, a favorite of a lot of our oldest seasoned congregation members, Father to Thy Dear Name. It was written to a tune by Binder. The text was written by J. Leonard Levy, who was one of our rabbis in our history. This tune is a Thuringian folk song that was used mostly here at Rodef, and for many years this was sung on High Holy Days. Father, to thy dear name I lift my voice in praise, for thou hast been my guide through all my days. Whate'er on earth is mine came from thy loving hand, rightly to use and share at thy command.
The next two hymns are from the Passover and the Hanukkah tradition, respectively. God of might, God of right, thee we give all glory, thine all praise in these days as in ages hoary, when we
The next tune is called Yigdal. These are a bit of transition tunes from English to Hebrew, yet still in classic Reform style. This first is Yigdal, which is a crossover melody that many of us in churches sing to the text of the God of Abram praise, with the hymn tune most often noted as Leone. Though the early classic Reform hymnal, the Union hymnal, borrowed many melodies from their Christian neighbors, this melody is attributed to Mayor Leone, called Leone, who is the Chazan at the Great Synagogue of London. Thomas Olivers, who was a Methodist minister, heard Leone sing this melody at that shul and decided to make an English version along with this melody to introduce it into Christian services. We present it here in English, as was first used at Rodef, then followed by the original and now used Hebrew text. We praise the living God, forever praise his name, who was and is to be for aye the same. The one eternal God, ere aught that now appears, the first and last, beyond all thought, his timeless years.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישבח, נמצא ואין עדר מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו. Also from this tradition in the Hebrew, Adon Olam, Adon master, Olam the world. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'it nasa v'chefzo kol azay melech shemo. So now we've moved into the Hebrew, and the next thing that I'd like to share with you is actually a pre-recorded video that we did for our High Holy Days. This is the Algae by Max Janowski, and the Algae is a communal confessional. And this has Don playing on both the piano and the organ at Ingemar Church. חטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה. the wonders of technology. And we'll continue with Ma Tovu, How Good, an older setting written by one of our favorite classic reform composers, Louis Lewandowski. From there, another piece by Max Janowski, who in this piece really uses a lot of the traditional modal sounds. If you are familiar with the Jewish song Hava Nagila, this is written with that same modal sound in mind. And that was from the Psalms, Psalm 95, verses 1 through 3. The next selection is the prayer about prayer, and we are praying that our prayers are acceptable. And this was written by Stephen Richards, a composer who is still living, and this setting sounds, it's a little more modern, but is still in the classical mind frame. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilotam be'ava tekabel u'tehil ratzon tamid בשובך לציון. Seush Arim, open the gates. Seush Arim Roshichem, Useu Pitchei Olam, V'yavo Melech HaKavod. Mihu ze Melech HaKavod. So the next part of our time with you, we'd like to compare a few of the old things and the new things. So we've shown you a lot of the more classical reform sounds. And the first thing that we'd like to compare in the old and the new is the Shalom Aleichem, which is peace to you, the ministering angels. So first, Don will do the Israel Goldfarb Shalom Aleichem, which is much older, which is from the older, more traditional sound, and I will do the modern Nava Tehillah Shalom Aleichem, which is from Israel, from a group that is very active, and they have a website, and they're very neat if you want to check them out.
It is tradition with the Friday evening liturgy that when everyone goes home, everyone is accompanied to their home by two Shabbat angels, thus the song welcoming the Shabbat angels. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bovechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
Baruch Huni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, a little bit of liturgical Hebrew. Hakadosh Baruch Hu means the holy, bless him.
These next two pairings, the first part of the psalm is more Shir Leom HaShabbat. It is the psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92, comes from, again, Nava Tehillah, followed by the second portion of the song Tzadikat Tamar, that the righteous will stand as the
cedar in Lebanon.
The cedar in Lebanon.
Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat, Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. צדיקת המר יפרח כארז בלבנון, יזכה שתונים בבית אדוני, וחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולתו בו. Our next pairing is, again, from the very traditional and the much more modern. The first pairing of this, the first selection of this is one of those that is a folk tune. Like, we're not really sure where it has come from. And the second setting is, was written by Rabbi Joe Black of Denver. So this is Yismachu, which means rejoice, make it a delight, and it's about the Sabbath. I'm going to remove this spotlight. Okay. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. There was that moment where I was inviting you to sing along. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, from the Song of the Sea. This is the moment where the Israelites crossed the sea and they realized that they were free and that they were on their way to continue on their journey to go worship God as they wanted to. And they said, Mi chamocha, who is like you? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, noro tehilot osef eleh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Our next selection will be another video share. This is from the part of the liturgy, one of the parts of the liturgy where we are praying for peace. This setting was from the fall of 2019, the before times, with Rodef Shira choir. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha Tosim decided to play again. Contrast with a setting that I wrote of Shalom Rav, this prayer for great peace, in 2014. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. 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 Ki ata melech adom lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adom lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. 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 Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
The text of Sim Shalom is the prayer for peace from our morning service that we offer two settings actually for you next. Joseph Wilcox Jenkins was my predecessor here at RodefShalom, serving from around 1988 to when I began in 1993. During his tenure, though it was not long, Cox wrote a number of choral arrangements for the professional quartet here, of melodies that we would sing in services, and for a great deal of incidental music that we would use during our High Holy Day services. Sometimes it was just a particular poignant prayer that he wrote this little beautiful vignette of a piece of music for just commentary within the service, and most of these are unpublished pieces. The first is an original melody of his, which is unpublished. The second is Cox's arrangement of a melody by Janowski, who was music director at KAM Isaiah Israel Congregation in Hyde Park, Chicago, from 1938 to 1991. Quite a tenure there. And we've already used a number of Janowski's music, and he wrote quite a bit of music used in classic reform services. Following Cox's setting of this melody is an arrangement of a Hasidic melody. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim
חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך, עמך, שים שלום, שים שלום.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha, chin v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol yirei shemecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chin v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barchinu yotzrinu kulanu ke'echad be'or panecha, ki ve'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chin v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. So we're going to go right from here to another video. This one was again recorded this past fall. This is Hashkivenu, our people's nighttime prayer, and it was recorded in the sanctuary with Don, with me, and with Greg Siegel, who is another musician that works with us, and his real job is that he's a neuroscientist. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, leshalom, leshalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, leshalom, v'hamidinu shomrinu lechayim, uleshalom, stop the share here. I know that we're getting close to time, and I really want everyone to have the opportunity to see our sanctuary. So we are going to do just two more settings. One is Ki Elecha, which is from the Sabbath liturgy. And the other one is called Shirei Zimra. It is the blessing that we say at the end of our morning psalms, thanking God for making songs and making psalms and bringing forth music and beautifying worship and beautifying our lives.
ושירים ארוג, כי לך נפשי תרוג, כי לך נפשי תרוג, כי נפשי תרוג, מדי דברי בכבודך, ומליבי אל דודך, על כן אדבר בך נכבדות, ושמך אכבד בשירי ידידות, כי אליך נפשי תרוג. ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלוהי העולמים, מלך אלוהי העולמים, מלך אלוהי העולמים.
Thank you all so much for having us.
Thank you. Am I off? Is this off?
No, this is still on.
Okay.
Would you like to see the building now? Or not the whole building, the sanctuary. So,
I'm going to go off my sound. Can you still hear me from my Surface Pro here? Okay, so I'm going to walk around here. So I was sitting here at the at our concert grand donated by the Silberman family. It was in their music room, a 9-foot grand here on the sanctuary front on the Bima area. When I began here, I started up there in that little cutout, as you see, with the two menorah candelabras that are up there. That's where the console sits, and the facade of the Kimball instrument. It is all of the facade up there is non-speaking. Everything that played behind it. The front of the sanctuary has the ark where the Torah scrolls are kept in there. Originally, this Bima area was only where these steps go up to. There were no steps coming down. We changed this about 8 years ago to allow for our worship leaders to be closer to the people, remembering that this building was designed in the style of presentational worship, much like all of the buildings in the area for worship. And so this entire Bima area here was widened, brought down, and we got rid of several rows of pews so that we could actually be closer to the congregation. This is the room. I might have my history incorrect, but I believe I remember being told that the stained glass window in the back, which I'll walk back just a little bit, you might be able to see, has our name in the window. Seek peace and pursue it. Rodef means seek, and shalom, or pursue, and shalom means peace. So we are pursuers of peace is the name of our congregation. There is the dome of the building, for which there is no structural steel. That stained glass window in the top is a double dome. It's a dome above the dome, so you can actually walk around the window. I've actually not been up there yet, which I really need to do soon, because the older I get, the less I like height. And you have to get up there by climbing up the side of the building on the outside to get there. That's not my idea of a good time. These sound clouds that you see, which we have brought down so that it helps to contain sound to give us a little bit more of an atmosphere. Those were, it's on a remote control of a TV control, if you will, and they'll come down far enough, even further than this, so that they can be cleaned. Those were installed in the early 90s. My senior year at Duquesne was 1989, and there was a fire here at Rodef. It was mostly soot and smoke damage, and so when they cleaned the room here, they put those sound clouds in to help keep the sound from spinning around in the dome of the room. The coloring in the room, as you can see, is blue. It was originally red felt and not the blue that it is. Over here, yet another side set of windows. The outside windows were brought from the previous building in town, as well as the two outer windows on the other side of the sanctuary. Walking briefly back, let's see if I can help you to better see that window. Does not show it particularly well, at least on my screen, but it does say seek peace and pursue it. So again, RodefShalom, pursuers of peace, and then turning around to the front Bima area, the reading desk, the piano stage right, and Molly. Did that give you a tour enough of the room? Good. It has been our honor. Thank you, Anne, for inviting us to be a
thank
part
you
of this
so much.
programming.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to very quickly mention, just do another funny share, simply because as we were talking about melodies in modes and referencing the Hava Nagila, many of you know I was a student of Anne's at Duquesne for my undergrad, and I distinctly remember in service playing when we were learning to do counterpoint above and below a given melody that she gave us in dictation. Sometimes we would do things in our early younger green years of not quite getting counterpoint, and we would do that lowered second, and Anne would say, "Oh, we are not in the synagogue." Well, now I am, and so I can enjoy doing that. So.
Wonderful. Thank you again. It was a great treat for us. And fortunately, it's recorded, so many other people will be able to hear it now.
Great, and you are welcome to join us online for as much as you can go anywhere in the world. And here we, of course, RodefShalom.org, because we are not in person. We lead worship from our respective homes. So I'm in my living room at my piano, and Molly's in hers, and our rabbis are in theirs. But you are welcome to join us at any time. So thank you so very much for having us.
Thank you so much, Don. This was a great treat for all of us.
Stay safe, everyone, and stay healthy.
Yes, you too.